Arise, queens. This is the All Queens Army, where women are provided with the tools you need to overcome your fears, face your flaws, and experience breakthroughs as you develop self-esteem so strong you emanate royalty. Now, for your host and commander of the All Queens Army, Breezy Time.
Welcome to the All Queens Army podcast. This is your girl, your host, Breezy Time. I am here today with another dope episode for the queens. Yes, honey, it's another beautiful, dope-ass, motivational Monday, and I'm super excited to be in your ears once again because you queens are in my heart. We are officially well into season 3 now. It's been so fun to motivate you queens. It's been so awesome to talk about all of the wonderful topics that we have had this season, and I'm going to dish out another really good topic today, queens. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a doozy. So before we get started with today's topic, a couple quick announcements, okay? So first things first, the website, allqueensarmy.com, has 5 e-courses for you queens. I tell you every week that those e-courses are continuations of the podcast episodes because what they do is go into detail so that you learn how to take action on the topics that we're talking about, okay? So if you identify something in some of the episodes that you need to work on, that you need to break through, that you need to overcome, that you need to heal, those courses will help you do that. And they're totally free for my queens. So make sure you take a moment, go over, take some of those courses so that you can work on some of your things that you need to work on and get some things resolved within yourself. And on top of that, there are motivational blogs that I write for the queens. I drop them every Thursday morning at 6 a.m. So when you wake up, you get yourself together, you get your coffee or your tea and you're getting your day started, read that blog so that you can get your daily motivation. I added that as a piece of content during season 3, okay? All right, next thing is if you have not subscribed to the All Queens Army podcast, you can go to the website at allqueensarmy.com, click on the subscribe tab. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, and iTunes. Choose whichever one of those platforms that you want to subscribe by and go ahead and subscribe. That way, you will get a notification every time a new episode drops. So that's super exciting. Another thing is I want to ask you queens, if you can please write a review on whichever platform it is that you're listening to the podcast on right now. Please take a moment and write a review. They're so important. They help the podcast to get rankings so that we can motivate more queens, okay? Now, last thing is if you have a friend, a family member, just another woman in your life that you think can benefit from all of this wonderful motivation and positivity and good energy that we're dropping every single week, every single day, actually, please share the Instagram page, the Facebook page, which are both All Queens Army, or share the podcast episodes or the blog, any of the content, queens. Just share it, share the love. Let's motivate some women. Let's continue to put out some good energy out there in the universe, okay? Okay, thank you. So that's all of the announcements I have for today. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into today's topic, okay? So we're talking about what to do when someone doesn't value you. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, that's pretty obvious, Bree. I know what to do when someone doesn't value me. Let them go, cut them off, shut them down, move on, all of that good stuff, right? Sounds pretty obvious. Yeah, I know. Wow, this may seem like a moot point, right? Or an obvious solution to the problem of people not valuing you, but you would be surprised how many of us have people, jobs, roles, family members, coworkers, supervisors, any type of situation that don't value us, and we just don't see it. Or we do see it and we feel it, because sometimes not being valued and not being appreciated is a feeling that you feel. You may not see it, but you may feel something weird, like this person doesn't value you. You may see some signs that people don't value you, and you may feel it. But so many of us as queens, we tolerate this shit. We make excuses for why things are being done, why people behave the way they behave, why people talk to us the way they do. And a lot of times we sweep things like this under the rug and we tolerate it. We start to normalize it. Now, you queens have heard me say things like this before. You've heard me say that a lot of things that happen that actually are not healthy to our psyche and are not healthy to our emotional well-being, we have gotten so accustomed to certain treatments from certain people, especially people who are close to us, that we sweep certain things under the rug and we make excuses. Excuses sound like, oh, well, he doesn't mean it. Oh, well, she doesn't mean it. Well, that's just how she is. Well, that's just how he talks. Well, he just had a bad day. Sound familiar? Yeah. Those are the types of excuses that we make a lot of times for things that happen, for things that make us feel that you kind of second guessing, you're side eyeing and saying, that didn't feel so good, or that was kind of smart assy, right? That was a little condescending. You really need to pay attention to that, queens, because we have normalized things so much. We coddle things and people so often that we overlook a lot of things that don't make us feel good, a lot of things that make us feel put down. Sometimes we'll even turn the tables and take a look at ourselves and say, it's just me. I'm being too sensitive. I'm being too needy. However, regardless of what you are, whether you're needy, whether you're not needy, whether it's valid or not, whatever you feel always needs to be acknowledged by you. At least acknowledge it yourself so that you can do some reflection to figure out where those emotions and feelings are coming from. Now, if they're coming from you because you have some things that you need to work on, that's totally fine. At least you know that it's you and you can work on those things. But if they're coming from someone else, or they're coming from a situation that you're in, they're coming from a job, they're coming from a relationship, if that's what's happening, then you need to make sure you take action, okay? That's what you need to do, okay, queens? So we have to make a change. You can't allow yourself to stay in situations, jobs, relationships, whatever it is, where you aren't valued, okay? That will diminish your self-worth, it'll diminish your self-esteem, and it will prevent you from being able to manifest what you want. Does this sound familiar, queens? Because we've had a couple episodes during this season where the foundation of the issue went right back to self-esteem, confidence, self-worth, not being able to manifest what you want. And the reason that you will find that this is a theme throughout this season is because this season is really focused on you living the life that you want, you figuring out how to get what you want. So a lot of things that we're addressing this season are issues that we could potentially be dealing with, or situations that we could be dealing with, or even people that we can be dealing with that could harm our ability to manifest what we want, and that can harm our ability to attract the things into our lives that we want to have, okay, and the experiences that we want to have. So most people don't even know they're not valued because we make excuses for how and why we're treated the way we are, like I said, okay, or because some of us have begun to believe that the way we feel and the way we're being treated is normal. So that's why I like to talk about these things. It's not because you don't know what to do when you don't feel valued. It's so that we can uncover additional situations and additional relationships in which you're being cut down, in which you're being devalued, in which your confidence is being chopped down. We want to uncover those types of situations that you're not paying attention to. Because the super obvious ones, yes, of course, you know what to do. But there's a lot of situations where they're not so obvious because society and social norms have created normalcy around certain things that truthfully are detrimental to us, okay? So that's what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to give you a couple of signs that you can look out for and pay attention to that are indications that you are not being valued. Pay attention to these signs. This is just a few. There are plenty more, but this is just a few. If you're experiencing any of these signs in any of your relationships, at your job, in any situation that you're in, if you're volunteering somewhere, at your church, it doesn't matter. If you are feeling some of these, you may want to think about whether or not you're being valued, okay? So here's a couple of the signs. First one is you don't feel respected. When you're in a situation where you're not being respected, where people are starting to tread the line of disrespect, it could be via jokes, it could be via the way people are saying things, it could be the way someone touches you, it could even be someone's tone. If you feel like you're not being respected, that is a sign that you're in a situation or dealing with a person who does not value you. Okay, here's another sign. You're not being involved or included in decision making. That's a huge red flag. If you're in a relationship, on your job, wherever you are, if you're not being included in the decision making process, in things that impact you, that impact your life, that impact your well-being, that impact your time, that impact your finances, if you're not being included in those decisions, if people are not involving you, it could be a sign that they do not value your opinion or just don't care about how you feel, okay? Here's another one. Partners, coworkers, bosses, people you're in intimate relationships with are not pulling their weight. You're in a situation where it's lopsided. You're doing more of the work. You have more responsibility. You're the one that's always being called up to the plate. You're the one that's picking up all the pieces. You're the one that's making all the effort. You're doing it all. You're literally holding the situation up on your back. It's all on you. It's all based off of your effort. If you feel like that, you could be in a situation where you're not being valued, because that means that the person or the situation is going to allow you to burn out. They could be using you. All right, here's another one. If you feel like there's a lack of effort is actually similar to the previous one, okay, in regards to people holding their weight. If you're in a situation with a person, a job, whatever it may be, and you feel like there's a lack of effort on the other party's part, that could be a sign that you are not being valued. Okay, lack of faithfulness and loyalty. That's the next one. Woo, woo, this is a big one. Big, huge red flag, red flag, fire engine red, okay? If there is a lack of faithfulness or loyalty in your situation, in your relationship, huge red flag. That person does not value you. They don't care about losing you. They don't deserve you. Period, point blank, end of story. Here's another one. If someone is condescending, I mentioned condescending earlier in this episode, condescending tones, condescending attitudes, talking down to people is a sign that you are not being valued. Okay, here's another one. Emotional manipulation and lying. If someone is emotionally manipulating you or lying to you, huge sign that this person or this situation does not value you, period. Point blank, end of story. And it's not just about being in an emotionally manipulative relationship. It's not just about being with a partner or a spouse who's lying to you. Emotional manipulation and lying can even venture in the professional environment. Let me give you an example. There's a gentleman that I work with. He's the manager in our department for the sales operations team. He was told that he was going to get an increase in his pay and a promotion in exchange for taking on more responsibility. Okay. So the big boss was talking to my coworker and pretty much telling my coworker that another manager was going to be let go, which was true. And that manager was let go. And then my coworker had to take on that person's entire team, their whole job responsibilities. So basically it's like my coworker is doing two jobs. Now he was promised in return that he was going to get a promotion and he was going to get a pay increase. Okay. Reluctantly, he went ahead and he agreed to take on the other team. He had a lot of work to do. He had to learn all of the responsibilities, had to learn the job because he didn't know the job of the other manager who was fired. He didn't even know what her team did, like their day-to-day responsibilities. He didn't know what they did. So he had to take time to continue to do his job he already did and now take on more responsibility and learn how to do a whole nother job, learn how to manage a whole different team, learn their job function, restructure and reorganize the way they did things to make sure that they were effective and that they were productive. It took him a few months to get his feet under him to even get to a place where he was level set and he understood what was going on. And after he got there, he got back and said, you know what? I never heard anything else about that promotion. I never seen the pay increase. What the hell is going on? And he went to the big boss and he asked the big boss like, hey, what's up? I got this team up and running. It's been months now. They're good to go. They're more productive. Their numbers are higher. Everything's working really well. Whatever happened to that money that you told me I was going to get? Whatever happened to that promotion that you said I was going to get? And Queens, do you know that big boss said that he didn't know what he was talking about? Do you know that he denied even promising that? So that's what I mean when I say manipulation and lies. It's not always in the form of a romantic relationship or with your spouse or with your partner or with your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Sometimes it could be in a work environment, professional environment. Sometimes it could be in regards to business. Sometimes it could be in a friendship. Sometimes it could be in an organization, at your church, all kinds of shit. I mean, these types of situations and relationships can carry out in any form of life. So that's why it's so important that you know what it looks like, that you're able to identify it, because that's just pure manipulation at its finest. And it really does go to show that the big boss does not value my coworker. Anytime you would lie to someone and get them to do what it is that you want them to do to benefit you, but there's no benefit in it for them, you're not looking out for them, you're not looking out for their best interest, that means that there's a lack of value in that relationship. Okay, so I just wanted to give you, Queens, that really quick example because that's a real life example, something that I personally witnessed just a few months back. Okay, here's another sign. If someone gives you false hope, that's just like the previous example that I just gave you. False hope is like gassing someone up, right? Gassing them up, making them believe that there's an opportunity or something that's going to come down the pike. People just gas you up so that they can get what they want out of you. It shows that they don't value you. They have no intention of actually giving you what it is that they're promising or that they're insinuating. They have no intention to do that. They're just dangling the bait so that they can get what they want from you. They don't value you, because someone who values you would know that you deserve to get what it is that you want so that you can get where you need to be, so that you can get something out of a situation as well. There has to be a win-win. If there's no win-win, meaning win on one side and win on the other, win for me and a win for you. If there's no win-win in a situation, you're not being valued. It can't be lopsided. Remember, lopsided relationships where one person gets gets all the benefit and the other person doesn't, remember that was in another sign that I just gave you. It's unhealthy because you wind up doing all the work. You wind up carrying the relationship on your back. You're fucking exhausted. The other person's just sitting back with their feet up, eating grapes, mangoes, and being fanned by a fucking banana leaf. I mean, come on. Don't let people do that to you. It's a sign that you're not being valued, okay? All right, 2 more signs, 2 more, and then we're going to move on. If you are not a priority, then that means that the person does not value you, okay? There's a lot of things in life that are important, and relationships are important. Good people are important. You are important. You deserve to be a high priority somewhere. Again, even if it's at work. You know, your boss, your manager, they may have a lot of people that report to them, but you're you. You're the one. You're the shit. You're the beast. They need to make sure that you are a priority, that you get what you need, that you're happy, that you're taken care of, that you're getting the resources and the tools that you need to be successful. You need to be taken care of at all times to make sure that you're valued, because what you bring to the plate is unmatched. Nobody else can bring what you bring, okay? You're the shit, period. Okay, here's the last sign, and I'm going to get off my soapbox. All right. If someone or something has a lack of consideration for your feelings or your well-being, period, point blank. Lack of consideration means simply that you are not valued, because someone or something that values you cares how you feel first and foremost. How you feel is very, very important to them, because they know the consequences of not caring about how you feel means that you're leaving, you're out, you're chucking up the deuces, and they don't want that. Okay. So those are some of the signs, queens. Those are some of the signs that you are not being valued. If you feel any of those, you just want to pay attention to the situation that you're in and do some self-reflection and figure out, hey, is this a sign that maybe I'm not being valued here? Because again, queens, a lot of times what happens is we're so accustomed to things being done a certain way and for certain things to be tolerated. Sometimes we overlook, because we love people, because we want our job, because maybe we need our job, because we need the relationships that we have in our lives. Whatever the excuse is, make sure you're identifying some of these signs and determining if it could mean that you're not being valued. It doesn't always mean that you're not being valued. Just because some of these things may be going on, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not being valued. There could be other things beneath the surface that are causing this reaction, okay? So that's why I say self-reflection. Only you can figure out, can understand, and can uncover whether or not this means that you're not being valued. All right, let's talk really quickly about the consequences of allowing yourself to stay in situations where you're not valued. We're going to go through this really quickly, okay? The first one is low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-value, and lack of confidence. We talk about that all the time, almost every week. We identify things that are going to kill your confidence and bruise your self-esteem. We talk about it all the time. When you stay in a situation, on a job, in a friendship, in a relationship, or you constantly let people talk down to you, be condescending to you, when you do that, you're going to bruise your self-esteem. You're lowering your confidence every time. Every time it happens, you're chipping away at your self-confidence. We talk about that all the time. I've talked in previous episodes about how important it is to make sure that you don't allow anything to fuck up your confidence, okay? So that's the first one. The second one is you're going to wind up creating a habit where you seek validation. If you allow yourself to stay in a situation where you're not valued, you're going to create a habit where you seek validation, period. And the reason that that happens is because your confidence is being chopped away. Every time someone takes a hit at your confidence, or a situation takes a hit at your confidence, and you don't address it and you don't create a boundary to prevent it from continuing to happen, every time you do that, you exchange your self-worth for someone else's opinion about you. Every single time you let someone chop you down, or you chop yourself down, because sometimes you're chopping yourself down, every single time you do that, for every single pebble and every single chop at your self-esteem that you lose or that you give away, because it's a choice, every single one, you're exchanging it for some sort of outside validation. All right? Okay, here's one last consequence. You can become emotionally dependent. Emotionally dependent means that your emotional well-being is dependent upon someone or something being good to you, being fair to you, loving you, treating you right, telling you how good you look, stroking your ego. It's a horrible place to be in. I know lots of women who are emotionally dependent on their men, on their women, on their girlfriends, on their friends, on their mom, on their family members, on their job, on their status, on their Instagram likes, on the filters that they use, on the makeup that they put on the compliments that they they receive, on the number of ass kisses that they get a day. There's a lot of women who are emotionally dependent. A lot of men too, hun. A lot of men. This isn't just about women, but since I'm talking to women, that's who I'm addressing. But so many people have become emotionally dependent, and it's a dangerous place to be, because if you're not getting those likes, if people aren't double tapping, if people aren't liking and loving your posts, if people aren't reposting you, if you're missing that filter, if your face isn't beat today, if you have no lashes to bat, if you have no nails to drum, if you have no boyfriend to tell you how wonderful you are, if you have no best friend to pipe you up, if you have no sister, no cousins, no friends to gas you up, you're lost. You don't feel like much of anything. Your self-esteem gets tied into all of this outside shit. That's what happens when you allow yourself to stay in situations and in relationships where you're not valued. You start looking for other things to validate you. You become emotionally dependent, okay? You feel good when you're getting the attention. You feel like shit when you're not. You feel cute and beautiful and sexy when you're getting the attention. You don't feel so good about yourself when you're not. You feel confident about your achievements, about what you've done, when people are saying congratulations and clapping for you, and when no one's paying you attention, and when no one's clapping for you, and when no one's supporting your business, you feel like a failure. I mean, queens, do you really want to be on that emotional roller coaster where other people's reactions to your successes, to your failures, to your appearance, to your weight, to your job? Do you want the reaction that people give you to all of those things about you to impact how you feel every day? Can you imagine all of the different sets of emotions that you will go through and experience in one day when you give someone else that kind of power? Oh, baby, it's too much. It's too much. That's what leads to depression. That's what leads to anxiety. That's what leads to people feeling like they don't want to be here anymore, because we're giving away too much of our power, okay? So look, let me cut that short, because now I'm going into the next section of the episode, okay? So now we're going to talk about how to improve your feelings of not being valued. How do we resolve this? If we do that self-searching that I was talking about previously, and we really figure out that some of the signs that I mentioned really are happening in our life, and it is an indication that there are situations in relationships that we're not being valued in, what do we do about it now? Remember, in the beginning of the episode, I joked about, oh girl, we all know exactly what to do. Cut them off, let them go, shut it down, move on. Sounds simple, right? A lot of people oversimplify that part. Everybody talks the talk. Everybody's a badass when it comes to that piece of it. I know for a fact that most people are not that freaking tough. So I want to speak to those people. I want to speak to the people who are real enough to understand that it's not that easy to just shut shit down like that. So let's talk about some more realistic ways to deal with things, okay? More realistic. So here's the first thing. The first thing you want to do is be more vocal. Speak up. If it's a person in your life who you feel like they're not valuing you, speak up for yourself. Be more vocal. Get a little brave. Get bold. Say how you feel. Tell the person what it is that you want. And that's actually number 2. Tell the person what you want. Identify what you want. Learn how to feel comfortable expressing your wants and telling someone what it is that you want. Because there's a lot of women and men who are in relationships who feel like that they're not valued. And sometimes it's not that you're not valued. It's that the person that you're with doesn't know how to express that, or the person that you're with has not figured out what your love language is, okay? So in those types of situations, yes, speak up for yourself. Be more vocal. Communicate. Tell the person what it is that you feel, what it is that you want, and what it is that you need, okay? All right, so those are the first 2. Here's number 3. Say thank you when you receive a compliment. Huge, huge, huge opportunity. Do you know how many people cannot just say thank you when they get a compliment? I see it on Instagram and Facebook every single day. I see comments where someone will say, oh my gosh, you are so beautiful. And the person will respond and say, girl, with this crazy hair, we self-depreciate so much, queens. And sometimes we self-depreciate as a joke. Sometimes we self-depreciate and we make it funny. But guess what? Your spirit does not know a joke from reality. So when you speak these things over your life, remember, queens, you manifest the things that you say. A lot of times when people joke like that, I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of times when people do those self-depreciating jokes, they mean it. It's real. You're not comfortable with the compliments because you don't really think what the person is saying is true. So you laugh and joke about it. And you can see it so often when people can't just say, oh my goodness, thank you so much. Here's the other side of that. I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole, but stay with me because this is a little off topic, but it's so good. I don't want to stop. Here's the other side. I crack myself up. Here's the other side of people who can't take compliments. There are other ways of not being able to take a compliment. Here's another reaction that I see to compliments all the time. Someone will say, oh my gosh, that is such a cute bag. And the person will say, I know, isn't it? Girl, that is not accepting a compliment, okay? I know, isn't it? Or I know it's super cute, right? That is not a thank you. That is not showing appreciation. That is not showing gratitude for a person just giving you a compliment. That kind of reaction kind of shows that you're a little bit arrogant, okay? It kind of shows that you're a little bit full of yourself, okay? You're not really that fucking humble. So it just cracks me up because these are the things I see all day, every day, okay? I do a lot of observing. I don't do a whole bunch of talking on social media. I do a lot of observing, and then I come to the All Queens Army platform and I just share what I observe and what I see and what I learn from it and my thoughts about it. And it cracks me up. But what doesn't crack me up is the self-depreciating side of the compliment. Please, queens, learn how to accept a compliment and then be thankful and grateful for people complimenting you. Because if you're grateful for it, you'll just attract more of it. Remember, anything that you're grateful for, you're going to attract more of. So if you want to feel valued, then when people show you that they value you, or they show you that they think highly of you, or they show you or tell you that they think something good about you, say thank you. Be appreciative. Be so humbled. Oh my gosh, that is so sweet. Thank you so much. Don't be depreciating and kick the compliment back. It's like saying that you don't accept how fucking dope you are. Why? You're so dope. I tell you queens all the time how dope I think you are, how beautiful I think you are, how smart I think you are, how deserving I think you are. How dare you act like you're not? Okay? Get it together, queen. Get it together. So that's a big one for me. Say thank you when you receive a compliment. All right, here's number 4. Recognize other people and show other people that you value them. That's the law of attraction at work. You queens know we talk about the law of attraction a lot because the law of attraction really changed my life. It has changed the lives of a lot of women that I'm friends with, that I've even met since I've started All Queens Army. The law of attraction works. So whatever it is that you desire, that you want more of, or that you just want, period, because you don't have it today, do it and become it. So if you feel like you're not being valued, then why don't you find some people that you value and show them and tell them how much you value and appreciate them. Because if you do that, whatever it is that you do, remember, that's karma at work. What you give is what you get. This is another opportunity for me to share with you queens that there's so many times that we focus on what it is that we're not getting or how it is that we're being treated, like in ways that we don't want or in ways that we don't like. We focus on that a lot. I'll even admit we focus on that a lot on the All Queens Army platform. But what I want you queens to understand is if there's anything in your life that you want, whether it's feelings, something materialistic, a relationship, money, whatever it is, queen, remember, you have to give it to get it. Whatever it is that you give is what you'll get in return. So if you're in a situation where you don't feel valued, find the people, identify the people in your life that you appreciate, that you value, and show them value. I promise you, when you sow that seed, you will reap the benefits. You will get value back. It's actually a great way to start attracting people in situations that do value you because you're showing that you value other things and other people. And you can apply that to anything in your life that you want. Anything. All right, moving on. Okay, here's the last tip that I have for you, okay? Say no to the things that you really don't want to do. The word no is a boundary. It's you creating that invisible fence to keep out the things that you don't want or that you don't want to impact you or that you don't want to touch you or that you don't want to involve or engage yourself in or energy that you don't want to exchange. Those are boundaries. Boundaries are important and necessary requirements of good emotional health. That's what they are. So queens, when you say yes to too many things that you don't want to do, 1, you start losing yourself. 2, you start creating expectations that you're going to do certain things whether you want to do it or not. That leads to being taken advantage of, okay? Now, I'm not saying that you never do things that you don't want to do. I do stuff that I don't want to do all the time. What I'm saying is you have to find a balance. You can't become a yes woman to everything, trying to please someone or trying to get where you want to be or trying to achieve something or trying to fit in somewhere. You can't say yes all the time. Sometimes you have to say no. There has to be a fine balance, okay? Yes, you say yes to some things that you don't want to do because that's a compromise or a sacrifice that you're making. You may be compromising or sacrificing for the benefit of your children. You may be compromising or sacrificing for the benefit of your relationship or compromising or sacrificing for the benefit of your career or your business. So I'm not saying you can never say yes to what you don't want to do. No, you're going to do that, but you have to find a balance because too much of anything isn't good. You have to know when to say no. because you don't want to overdo things. You don't want to say yes all the time, because then people will start expecting you to do shit. And when people start expecting you to do things, that's a lack of value right there. It means that they don't respect you, your time, your energy, or your sacrifice. Let me give you one last tip, and this one is really, really important. You don't have to do this one if you don't want to, but it's just one of my favorite things. It's one of the things that I had to break out of, and it was a learned behavior for me, but it's paid off substantially, okay? Practice being more brave and more bold. Sometimes people don't value us because we play too small. We hide behind people. We hide in our comfort zones. We hide in meetings. Stop diminishing your life. Stop being little. Be big. You're the shit. You're great. You have something wonderful to share with the world, with your family, with your friends. You are the one. You have the gift. And a lot of times, queens, we're actually intimidated by our own strength. We know that we're queens, and we know that the gift that has been instilled in us is going to change someone's life. And that's a huge responsibility, and it's a tall order. And a lot of times we know how badass and how powerful we are. Sometimes we're afraid of our own potential. And what we do is we play small. We play down. We dumb ourselves down. That's where that depreciating and shit comes from, because we're not comfortable in our own power. We're not comfortable with how fucking great we really are. And we have to work on that, queens. And I'm telling you, if you learn how to be a little bit more brave and a little bit more bold, I'm not saying go out there and turn the world upside down, or hell, shit, if that's what you want to do, baby, go ahead and unleash the dragon, baby. Okay? However, for some of us, that may be a little intimidating to go out and unleash the whole dragon. But what you can do is start to work on being more brave and more bold. So what are some examples of that? Like, what does that mean? Even though I know y'all know exactly what I mean when I say be more brave and be more bold. What I mean is stand up for yourself. Go out there and get what you want. Go out there and demand what it is that you deserve. Go out there and demand the value that you deserve, because you know you're great. Deep down inside, queen, you know you're great. You know you deserve way more than what you settle for sometimes. You know that you have a power and you have a blessing that you need to share with the world. Be confident, be bold, stand up in your power. Don't worry about what it looks like. Don't worry about failing. Don't worry about not knowing what you're doing yet. Don't worry about not being ready yet. You are where you need to be. Okay, so what are some examples of how to be a little bit more brave and bold? So here's one. Speak up and speak out in crowds. Again, stop playing small. Stop watching all the other people stand up and ask the questions. Stop watching all the other people get all the recognition. Stand up. Get yours. Be more vocal, okay? We talked about that already. Here's another one. Sit in the front of the room. Don't be afraid to be in the spotlight. Sit where you'll be noticed. As a matter of fact, stand. Stand where you'll be noticed. Don't hide. Here's another one. Share your opinions. Share, talk, be open. Share your thoughts. Share your experiences. Create your own platform if you need to. Or just go ahead and use your social media platforms that you already have. But be more open. Be more bold. Share your thoughts. Share what you feel. Share what you think is funny. Stop worrying about what other people have to say. Here's another one. Validate your damn self. You don't need validation from other people. You don't need other people to tell you you're great. You don't need a whole bunch of likes. You don't need to go viral. You don't need for other people to tell you that they believe in you. You don't need any of that. You don't even really need me to tell you I believe in you, even though I do. You don't need that shit. Stand on you. Validate yourself. You know why you should validate yourself? Because again, deep down inside, you know you're the shit, girl. Nobody needs to tell you that, okay? All right, last one. Consider moving on. That goes right back to where we started at the beginning of the episode. The reason that I wanted to make that the very last thing that you could do, the very last tip, is because I want you queens to understand that while moving on, letting go, cutting the person off, chucking the deuces, all of that shit, while that definitely is an option for how to deal with not being valued at work, at a job, at church, or some other organization in a relationship, whatever it is that you're dealing with, yes, that is a viable solution, but it's not the only solution. You have to understand that every situation that we find ourselves in and every relationship that we find ourselves in, there is a lesson in the shit. And the reason that I ended the episode with that is because walking away sometimes prevents you from learning the lesson. Sometimes walking away prevents you from being able to work through the shit. See, the only way to come out on the other side and get through it so that you don't keep going through the same thing over and over again, you got to go through it. And sometimes sometimes walking away, cutting someone off, shutting them down, chucking them the deuces is actually preventing you the opportunity to work through the shit. See, once you get through the shit, the situation of the person is going to fall away anyway. You don't always have to shut it down. That's why when I opened up this episode, I said it's going to seem like it's really obvious what you need to do when you're in a situation where you're not being valued, because that's the common theme. That's what society is going to tell you to do. Walk away, shut it down, let it go, move on. Well, you'll get there, but do the work in the middle first. Get through it first. Learn the lesson as to why you're in the situation to begin with. Learn the lesson as to why you attracted the shit anyway. If you're in a situation where you're not feeling valued, it's because there's some work that you need to do, or something that you need to change, or something that you need to heal within you. So you don't always have to shut the situation down, quit the job tomorrow. That's not necessarily the thing, because if you don't heal the why you're in it to begin with, why you attracted it to begin with, if you don't heal that part of you, when you walk away, you're going to walk right into the shit again. Okay. So that's why I said today's episode was going to have a little bit of a twist. Eventually you will get to the place where the relationship or the situation will dissolve on its own. Things dissolve once you heal the part of yourself that attracted it to you to begin with. It falls away on its own. And the beauty in doing that, the beauty in doing the work on yourself, is that once you've healed it, you'll never attract that shit again. Now you'll be able to move on, and you'll be closer to attracting what you want. You'll be closer to attracting what you deserve, okay? So queens, with that being said, that's today's episode. If you queens have any questions, you always know you can reach out to me. I love hearing from you. I love when you reach out and you ask questions specific to your situation, because remember, I'm trying to talk to everyone, and there are different situations and different caveats to everyone's story, okay? So if you have something very specific that you want to ask, you need some help, you need a little bit of guidance, you can always reach out to me, queens. Shoot me an email at breezy@allqueensarmy.com. That is BREIZY at allqueensarmy.com. I love you so much, queens. I will talk to you next week, and make sure y'all check that self-esteem and be the badass queen that you know you are. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the All Queens Army podcast. If you want to connect with Breezy Time and the All Queens Army, be sure to follow them on IG and Facebook at All Queens Army. Or head over and check out the All Queens Army YouTube channel. Until next time.